You haven't lived until you've heard the show Americans are talking about. The show that launches its listeners to the height of humanity. The audio hour that travels the landscape of adventure. The sound that comforts more than the clip of your first bolt. It's the Ogden Outdoor Adventure Show!
Our outdoor adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Outdoor Adventure Show. I'm your host, R. Brandon Long. I'm belay with you for the next about 40 minutes or so. Across from me in Banyan 1 is the best co-host in all the land, Todd of the Top. Todders, how you doing?
You're referring to me, aren't you?
Yes, because
okay, good. I have not been replaced.
There is not yet. Although Manners is on the short list, just so you know.
I imagine. Yeah.
I'm glad you said short list and not short bus.
Short list. We do have an interview today with Aric Manning of the newly named Trails Foundation of Northern Utah, formerly Weber Pathways, and also the host of the Trail Manners podcast. So he'll tell us what is going on in his world. Give you some on the docket and in the news, including a snow report, above average, historic avalanches, Nordic expansion, Parkite gold, oh no, O-W-E, oh no, winter games, and a kayak WI5. Give you something worth listening to. New podcast suggestion, actually. Worth watching, Gear 30 segment, and quote of the week. All of this and more on the Ogden Outdoor Adventure Show, episode 351, TFNU. So let's charge.
He summits with the agility of a mountain goat, flashes routes faster than UPS, is more intimate in the mountains than Jake Gyllenhaal. He's Todd to the Top.
All right, Todders, this is for you, man. It's the weekly happy Pit Viper goggles ad. It's nothing but 80s all the time. These new goggles coming out, and it's all the fluorescent, all the assholeism of the 80s ski scene coming to you from Pit Viper. This is their like 2 or 3 minute advertorial. All 80s all the time. This
I
is
like the keyboard guitars nice.
Yes, you have to have keyboards on the mountain that aren't plugged into anything for the effects.
Got a lot of instruments on the mountain.
Might as well.
I did a good job on this.
It's a dance portion of the podcast.
Because that's all you're getting out of it if you're listening right now. Yeah. This is incentive where you have to see the video.
You've got to see the video, so we will post these in the show notes. This is brought to you by Unofficial Networks. It is the Pit Viper goggle line. Can be used for everything from skiing to competition aerobics to sex. That's what they say. That is the Pit Viper now available goggles. That is your weekly happy. So there you go.
That's a good visual as well.
We welcome, and I am very, very, very excited today to have Aric Manning in Banyan 1. Aric was on the Ogden Outdoor Adventure Show when we started in the 70s, I believe. We've been doing this a while. And do you remember? Because we had you on for Nuts.
Yeah, but Weber State.
Northern Utah Trail Series.
Now I feel bad because I was like excited to see you this morning, but I wasn't very, very excited. So now I feel kind of like a shitty friend. But I was still excited to see you, but not like very, very excited like Brandon. So I'm sorry.
Oh, because I did throw in two varies.
But I'm still happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you.
Okay, good. It's good always good to get you in the trailer.
Uh-oh. I fell for that before.
Aric Manning will take over a new position, not in the trailer, but in 2 days as the executive director for the formerly known Weber Pathways, a nonprofit here in Ogden that we have been fans of and supporters of for a very long time. You've changed the name. This is welcome to the new job. Let's go ahead and change the name. The name is the Trails Foundation of Northern Utah. What happened?
That's a good question. No, I'm very fortunate that they asked me to come in and talk to get to be the executive director. So I've been there since August. And one of the things they've been working on for a few years is changing the name. Weber Pathways is probably not the best description of what the organization does, the nonprofit. They came around in 1995 is when Weber Pathways started. And people just thought Weber, okay, you're Weber County. That's where you would do the work, or that's where you're funded. And we're not. We're a nonprofit. And then Pathways, since 1995, that name's changed a lot. So we get calls in the office about, do you have a bed for the night for rehab, education process?
Do you?
I've thought about just like my apartment. I got, just if I can, charge a little coin,
right,
and,
right.
but
it's like a side hustle. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I think it's like some legality stuff,
yeah,
and
weird
idea. Things happen with social media. So, we thought we need to change our name to better represent what we're about, and that was basically a 6-month process with a small committee, and names were all over the place, and we finally settled with Trails Foundation Northern Utah, so we could get our the emotional part out, trails, which people are just into. Foundation saying, hey, we're trails a nonprofit. And then Northern Utah, where we do business. So it's not pinning us into Weber County, because we've done work in Box Elder County. We've done work in Davis County. So it helps the organization expand, I guess.
So when you're looking for funding and donations, it feels like you have a wider area now to work from instead of just Weber County.
Correct. And again, I think people think we're funded by Weber County. Weber County does help us a lot. They've been an amazing partner. We work with them real closely, and we couldn't obviously do it without them, but it just helps us kind of get more broad, just involved with more stuff. With a huge 2-person staff, we need more work. So
yeah. Two-person staff. I don't know how you do it all, or will here in the future. There's a lot of events that Weber Pathways does. So in the summertime, when the paths aren't full of snow, there's a lot of maintenance going on, and then also new trails. So as far as, which I'm like, I don't even know how you start the process to make a new trail. Like, how do you look at the geography of Ogden and think, you know what, we need a trail here, or that? Like, how does that even happen?
Well, I mean, that's the difficulty of it. I don't think people understand how much trail costs. I think that was an eye-opening experience for me. There's a section, here roughly, there's like a 4-mile section, Middle Fork, Upper Wheeler, that needs to be redone. It's it's in bad shape, and so we got an estimate last year. It's a little over 3 miles, $80,000 for that. And that's not building new. That's just repairing or rerouting a little bit. So trail maintenance or trail building is expensive. And then we're also, you guys know, in this unique situation where nobody owns a lot in one area. So in a 5-mile section, you're at Weber State property, private property, Forest Service, Rocky Mountain Power, Ogden City, Weber County.
At least around here, private property. Yeah, private. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's really hard to build a new trail, Everybody wants new trails, which would be fantastic, but you need a lot of organizations involved as well as a lot of money. So
what attracted you to this position?
To be honest with you, I'm a trail guy. I've always loved it. I was part of Ogden Trails Network.
It's in your podcast name.
It's in my podcast name. It's in my apartment. There's dirt everywhere and rocks, and just what I do.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm just passionate about the trails, and very similar to what you guys. I mean, you guys have done so much for this community and what you're doing, and you're involved with everything, arts, but you're into it. That's your passion. That's what you enjoy, so it's easier.
I can't help it, man.
It's a thing. And so when I had the opportunity, I really had to jump at it. And it's going to be interesting, to be honest with you. Mark Benigni, who's been the executive director for 8+ years, has done an amazing job, and huge shoes to fill.
Is he an ex-engineer?
He's an ex-everything, man.
Yeah.
He's just
his
brilliant.
Mind feels like that.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, me and Mark are quite different in a lot of ways. He's really smart, and I'm different. Not as smart, no. He just
Very
comes
passionate.
from that engineering background, and I don't have that background, so there's going to be some differences there. But it's just big shoes to fill, and with everything, our board has grown a little bit. Our board is absolutely some of the most incredible people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Same thing, passionate in their own rights in different areas. So I don't know, just coming on board to a great organization, and kind of my daughter actually pushed me over the edge when I couldn't decide what to do. She kind of looked at me and said, "Dad, you've always told us to do what we love, so put your money where your mouth is." And I was like,
how old is she?
She'll be 15 pretty soon, but she acts a lot older.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of the same reason you guys do what you do. You're passionate about it.
For the money?
What now? What was that? That's the M word.
Wait. I thought it was for the money.
Yeah.
You do it long enough, and yeah.
You do it long enough, then they start paying you? Is that what you're saying?
We're waiting.
No,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's a challenge with a nonprofit, not just with staff, but just with anything you do,
Yeah.
Budgets and how you do things. So I don't know. I'm excited. And I guess a part of me, probably the vain part of me, maybe, I guess, is I kind of want to leave some type of legacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, because I love this community, and I always have, and I've put on races and different things, and maybe this is just another way to, to do something to where I can leave it and say, I did my best,
No.
You got trail goals?
Trail goals.
You got that legacy trail yet picked out in your head? Can you picture it? One that's going to take years and years to happen?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you talk about it yet?
No.
No, not yet.
It's too controversial.
Okay, can you talk about it now?
Yeah. Just off the record.
Wait a minute. Yeah, we'll wait a minute.
We'll wait a minute.
Yeah.
59.
No, I think there's just so much, I mean, and the thing is, you guys use the trails too, and so even maintenance and the community, the growth, there's more people up there, and there's more work that needs to be done. So where do you spend your money? Do you build a new trail? Do you maintain what's existing? If you let existing go for too long, then it's ruined. So it's a
you end up
challenge.
focusing on rehabilitation.
A lot.
So maybe you should have kept that other name. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a rehab, but just a different
Different type of. Maybe that'll be an offshoot. Maybe that'll be our maintenance program. That's what we'll call it.
The trails just show up knocking at your door.
Well, there's trail
You have a bed
ferries.
for me?
There's
Yeah.
poop ferries.
Oh, man. There needs to be more poop ferries.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the two nonprofit? Well, one nonprofit, one from the city, Ogden Trails. Just for people listening.
The Ogden City's main focus really is an advisory committee for the mayor. And that's what they've been, and that's what their charter mentions. And they're in Ogden City, so that's what a lot of their focus is just city trails. I was just at a meeting with them this morning, and one of my goals is...
Which, by the way, it's only 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's still early. I got my fourth cup of Joe here. But realistically, one of my goals is to help the two organizations work together closer. And I don't think it's ever been like where we haven't worked together, but my goal is to say, in our tagline for Trails Foundation is it's about the trails.
So you were a board member of
Ogden Trails Network, yeah.
So, and because you spend so much time, you've dealt with as a race director in the past trails, and having to put that on that's another challenge.
Yes.
And then as just a user of the trails, I don't think they could have found a better person.
We'll find out pretty quick. I mean, realistically, loving something and being good at it are two different things.
And you got to be careful because you don't want to lose that passion for the trails, because now you're working in it every day, which I find at my job at Gear 30, working in the outdoor industry. I'm like, 2-3 weeks will go by. I'm like, I haven't even gone outside.
Yeah.
What the crap? I just need, guys, I'm taking a day off. I've got to go play outside. Like it'll sneak up on you. So.
And I think that's an advantage. Like I run in the morning at 5 a.m., and that's when I clear my head.
Yeah.
And I still can do that. But part of my job too is I'm fortunate is I get to walk some trails, like see projects. So I'm still outside a little bit. I'm in the office a lot more than I'd like to be. But you just have to be. So hopefully that'll never happen. But we know how that works.
Are you coming out with TFNU stickers? Like I want to hashtag TFNU.
We have the stickers.
It's so
I
close
brought.
to being a swear word that I really,
yeah, and we were careful.
Okay, yeah.
And that was part of the name process. Is people, people like, you should get a cool acronym, and I'm like, I don't want to get hung up on an acronym to force the words. You know?
Right.
So we don't have like a cool acronym per se, but I think the name sticks, and we're as a nonprofit. These stickers that I even brought in today that came from recycling cans. And giving plasma.
Very
no.
cool.
So everybody's like, I want a shirt, I want a hat. Yeah, I want a shirt, I want a hat. I'm like, I want some money to buy those.
Yeah.
But it's a process for sure.
All right, what's the first big event?
Well, we're in the works right now to do a launch party at Amer Sport Factory Outlet.
Nice.
I guess preliminary date is March 27th, and that's just a, hey, welcome to our new name. Kind of a little thank you, kind of little party that way. But our big event, our one that keeps the lights on, is Trail Fest, which is going to come up in June 20th, which is a big day for us. Bank of Utah is our title partner for that, which they've been since day one. So now it's just a matter of really focusing on Trail Fest, which is a big event with the Centennial Trail here in the area, as well as just a day in the park with vendors. And again, just a celebration of the trails, really, and a way for us to, and it's free, but we try to, get some funds through sponsors and partners, and that's really our biggest event of the year. We have our author event that's coming up here in a couple weeks, February 28th. That's sold out. We have Joe Jennings, who's an author, search and rescue, ex-Marine. Super excited. That'll be my first author event, kind of my coming out party, if you will. And then we'll see what happens after that. We got to do more stuff to make more money, but then we got to
build more trails and take care of more trails.
Yeah,
maintenance.
But it's just a challenge when you don't have the resources necessarily to do everything.
Okay, so how do I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to run trails like that? I cannot. The alarm goes off at 5, and the snooze I can't do it.
Well, I've done it before for sure. Like I hit snooze, but I found that if you have an alarm that's like a dog throwing up sound, that'll get you out of bed really quick. If if I hear my dog making some cackling noise, I shoot out of bed like a rocket. So sometimes it's what your alarm's set as, but I don't always run at 5 a.m. That's my goal, and sometimes I get a night run. I shouldn't say that. I don't run in the evenings well.
Really? Just your body doesn't.
I'm just not into it.
Yeah.
There's so many things I know I have to get done. So for me, I try and plan my day around my run. Honestly, the last couple of weeks have been a little short. I had a race a few weeks ago, and I've just been coasting a little bit. So
okay, what's your summer look like as far as races? I think I saw you were signing up for a bunch of stuff.
I have a lot of races this year. Yeah, we're doing just for fun, Grand Canyon in April, Timp Trail Marathon in May, up in Portland for 50K in May, 50-miler Squaw Peak in June. Looks like another one in June.
Tough, right?
Yeah, it's a good one. And then Beaverhead 100K in July, a couple hundreds at the end of the year, Bear 100, Ute 100. So I bit off more than I can chew, but that's pretty much my MO.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you feel good then, because I know you were injured for a little while.
Last year I was injured for about 6 to 8 months. Right now I probably am as the healthiest I've been since I was 20, which has been like 80 years ago. So I feel pretty good
85?
right now. 85.
Yeah.
We'll round down.
What are you doing? How are you taking care of your body?
Eating properly.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, just working out more, just trying to be happy.
I love it.
Yeah, just try to be stress-free, so I took on a new stressful job. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you. What's happening with the podcast these days?
Nothing. Since I took this job, it has been absolute radio silence. I just haven't had the time. Joel left last year to pursue other things, and so it's just fallen into my lap. It'll come back.
Not that I want to give Todd a compliment, but I tell you what, if you don't have that partner, it's I couldn't imagine doing it I wouldn't have done it by myself.
Yeah, and that's it's a struggle.
And Todd left the country. Todd went on cruises, and he would call in every Thursday from places like Africa, back when we had the radio station.
Yeah.
And that commitment, because I felt like, nobody cares, nobody wants to listen. But Todd was like, "Are we doing a show this week?" I'm all, "Yes, we are."
Dang.
Yes, we are. And that commitment.
The time difference. I remember time
difference. Yeah, you had to figure it out. Got us to 10 years. And I couldn't have done it without a partner. So,
you're thinking of tying
it's a big deal.
Maybe tying the show a little bit to the day job a little bit?
I've thought about it, or even just doing an offshoot of some sort. People have approached me on that, but for me, again, it just comes down to priorities and time. I mean,
100%.
It's just hard. You guys know. I mean, even though you guys have been super consistent, but it's still difficult. And some things, whether you want it to or not, some things have to take a back seat or move down your priority list. And right now, doing that is not close to a priority for me. And my personal podcast is something I've been very close to and still love, and it'll happen. But like you mentioned, I never think anybody wants to listen to just me. And so people are like, well, get a guest host. But you guys know how important it is to bounce things off each other and know when someone's coming in, and just that. Yeah. What do you call it?
Well, if you ever need the fix, you feel free to come hang out.
Yeah, well, we're happy to help you.
I'm nervous.
No, you're not.
I am.
Stop it.
I was nervous to come in.
Not.
Yeah, because I'm
listen to a Trail Manners podcast. You'll hear what a professional podcast sounds like.
I don't know about that. These are fancy microphones.
These are fancy microphones. It helps cover. It's like makeup. This is
what these things are. When you put a fancy microphone on a bad podcast, everything comes out much better.
No, I don't think so.
Oh my gosh, Aric, congratulations on the new job, Trails Foundation of Northern
you.
Utah. Good luck. I know you take official position here in 2 days.
February 15th.
February 15th.
And ED stands for
love.
Executive Director, for the record.
Executive Director. ED.
And Trails, is Trails still a gentleman's club? Is there still a club called... Wasn't there one down
There
at
was.
called
Yes.
Trails?
Yes, there
I wonder
was.
if there still is or not.
Yeah.
But I don't know why.
They're
but
not
I
a
remember
Trails
that.
foundation necessarily.
It's
Yeah.
a different kind of foundation.
Different
Yeah.
kind of foundation.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'm sure you guys talked about that for sure. Yeah.
Actually, we didn't. That never came up. But I'm thinking of some new swag to sell right now.
Daddy's got to make some money. We're gonna new swag is great. Thanks so much, Aric. You're welcome anytime, and let us know if you ever want. I mean, I don't know what the hell I would talk about as a co-host on Trail Manners, but I really he's a better co-host than me. So
Well,
I'm offering up my assistance if you ever need one.
Well, I
so.
appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys having me on. And seriously, everything for you guys, what you do for the community is amazing. I mean, you guys have seen firsthand the growth with arts and everything you're doing, but as an outsider a little bit more, it is absolutely phenomenal. And you guys are a big part of that, obviously, in this building. So
Sweet.
thank you.
Thanks,
Aw,
Aric.
thank you, sir.
Now, are you happier to see me over
Damn
there?
straight. Yeah, absolutely. I want to put two varies in front
I don't
of
know. You might have to bump out of here. I'm going to move on to some on the docket. So feel free to stick around until you got a motor or take off.
All right.
We have beer if you're down for a 10-15 beer. I know you've been up for about 6 hours. On the docket this weekend is my favorite film weekend of the year, and that is the Banff Mountain Film Festival World Tour at Peery's Egyptian Theatre. Todd, I got us tickets, and tomorrow night we're doing a threesome because my wife is coming with us. So,
I think thruple sounds so much better.
a
Than
thruple.
threesome.
We got a
Yeah.
thruple going on. Yeah. So we should have a lot
And
of fun.
she's joining
tomorrow
us just tomorrow night.
night. Just tomorrow night, and then we'll double date the rest of the weekend. So
Got it,
we
got
should
it, got
be good. See, Aric. Also on Sunday is the Freedom Hike, Waterfall Canyon on 29th Street. I don't know if you're familiar with this group, but I just stumbled upon it this weekend. The details of this hike says doing what we love to fight what we hate. #4freedom. Mark your calendars and join us February 16th for a February Freedom Hike up Waterfall Canyon. Learn more about why we hike and remember to wear red to show your support for Rescue Freedom International and Ending Slavery. All ages welcome. Waterfall Canyon Trail is a 2.4-mile, heavily trafficked out and back trail. Perfect setting for the February hike. It's for like a non. I don't know. I guess it's a nonprofit, but it's the Freedom Hikers are for modern day an awareness for modern day slavery. That's what it happens.
Got it.
So if you want to join them, that is Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon, Waterfall Canyon, which is a beautiful hike this time of year anyway, so you should probably just go hang out there. Anyway, Companion Rescue presented by the Utah Avalanche Center up at Snowbasin is on the 15th, $65 from noon to 4. Learn more about rescue practices in avalanche conditions. And then the 21st through the 22nd is R.U.F.A. running up for air. If you'd like to know more about that, we did interview running up for air, Tara Warren, a representative, Malans Peak, and that podcast was about 3 podcasts ago, so you can check that one out on the Ogden Outdoor Adventure Show. Also, the Climbing Up for Air on Sunday, the 22nd. Real Rock at Gear 30 is sold out.
You did not.
We have sold out. Well, it was free. The tickets were free, but you had to go on and reserve
Reservation.
them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when you show up, we've got Pogs, $15, and you get 3, and you can spend them however you like.
So for 15, you get 3.
you 15, you get 3,
Okay.
and you can get like pizza, beer, or pizza, or I think you can get beer if you want. So yeah. There you go. Real Rock.
How many
at
films
Gear
you got
30.
coming in? How long is it?
So it's they have it broke down into this like 45 minutes, and then you get like a 10-minute break, and then you get like another, or it's like an hour and so it's 2 hours or just over 2 hours, I think total. But you get an intermission. I mean, it's very much like a Banff Mountain Film Festival. So they bring in multiple films, and it's I think there's 5 or 6 films altogether.
And are you open the doors a little bit early so you can get the food beforehand if you want to?
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
Gotcha.
6 o'clock. We'll start films right at 7.
Congrats.
We had to rent
Nice.
chairs. I mean, this is a big deal.
Wow. Chairs.
Yeah, I know.
Nice start.
We've never had that many people in there.
Where do you set up that many people on the?
Well, good news is it's the end of a season buying season where our winter goods are fading out and we don't have as much, it's after Christmas. And so we've sold a lot of things.
So where winter gear would be.
Where it would be, we're putting up the screen where we have this giant screen that we're going to hang from the rafters. And
oh, nice.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm a little nervous, but we'll see how it goes.
It's a good nervous.
That's the 28th. Yeah. The 29th, which is Saturday, this is the Striders Winter Race Circuit 10K. Oh, also the 29th, I believe, because I think I have to do Real Rock and then the next day is the Powder Keg in Salt Lake. If you're a backcountry skier, skimo racer, or just want to play with the backcountry ski peeps, keep that event in mind. It's at Brighton. I'll be there at 6 a.m. Outside with our speakers and playing music, getting everybody hyped for I think it's a 7 a.m. gun or 8 a.m. gun.
At least at 6 a.m. it should be really warm. So
yeah, it's typically around 0 up there. It's great. I wear all the poopies. At least 3 layers. Poopies. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's some stuff that's coming up here soon on the docket. So in the news, snow report, nothing, nada, 0 in the last 24-48. I was up at Basin both Monday and Tuesday for the on snow demo for industry. It's an industry demo. And, groomers are nice, but we haven't had any snow recently. Powder Mountain sitting at a 66-inch base. Snowbasin sitting at an 89-inch base. Nordic Valley at a 27-inch base. But no new snow to speak of. I think we'll get some this weekend. Utah snowpacks, however, are above average at the 2020 midseason. According to a report, this is on KSL, storms drenched the Wasatch Front with wet, heavy snow last week, and hydrologists briefed water managers on how much runoff they can expect this spring. So far, they said the picture this year looks a lot like last year, which was very good because in 2018 was the driest year on record. But right now, we're looking at a nice, full, average snowpack in the mountains. Speaking of those storms that blew through just a little while ago, it was a historic weather event in the Wasatch, and 48 avalanches within 72 hours were recorded. This is up at Snowbrains. Last week's storms that hit the Wasatch have now been dubbed as a historic weather event, and it's not hard to tell why. Brought about by an upside-down storm, which is when a snowstorm deposits denser snow over less dense snow, rapidly creating a slab or weak layer combination. The snowpack in Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons became extremely unstable, incredibly fast. Our friends, The Proper Way, had a gig that was canceled because they were supposed to go up to, I think, the Bird, and the canyons were closed. It was too unstable. So Alta and Snowbird were closed for over 54 hours to make sure there was cell phone video of people who were in lodges up there and just stuck, like watching the avalanches bury cars.
Now, there were no incidents or anything, were there? Because there was so much word out about the dangers.
Right. Yeah, I didn't read of any incidences.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But, Nordic Valley could be getting much, much bigger. There's a proposal in to the Ogden City, or let's see. This is from the Standard Examiner. Operators of the Eden Area Resort are mulling a dramatic expansion of the facility, which is interesting. I thought they were going north. This is to the south of the property, abutting the existing ski area. The plans outlined in a request for a conditional use permit submitted to Weber County Planning Division call for the installation of another ski lift and expansion of the area covered by snowmaking devices. The map that it shows is pretty significant, actually. It looks like, it looks like it's twice the size of the resort it is now, and it would be to the south. This map is pretty cool. So if you get a chance, go to standard.com or standard.net and look at this map that the rendering shows where they would be. It would be to the south, up behind the houses there.
What do you think of that?
What I think about it is I think that businesses intuitively want to expand to make more money. And they've struggled for years to make a decent amount of money. But I love the size and vibe and feel of that current mountain.
A lot of people do, yeah.
And the price of that current mountain. And when you do expansion and stuff, you got to raise the ticket prices and do the things. And it's nice that we've got Snowbasin, Powder Mountain that are on the higher end of the price. And then we have family and friends who come in from out of town. We can go to Nordic. It doesn't cost them an arm and a leg, and they love it. And so there's a potential to lose that when the price goes up. It's got to be
one of the last of the non-arm and a leg resorts
Absolutely.
that there is.
Right. And I like that appeal. And I like having that. I like the accessibility of Nordic. You don't have to drive up the mountain. You just go down the canyon, and it's right there. It's a great local mountain.
I guess the idea of them staying in business is also appealing.
Change happens. I'm not against change. It just sucks. It would suck to kind of lose, I think that small mountain vibe that they have. And if they can keep the vibe and keep the tickets not too expensive, it'll be great. I just have a feeling
recapturing vibes once they're gone are very hard to do.
Very hard.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, Park City athletes have been crushing it. World Tour, and the park guy Alex Hall won a gold and silver medal this past weekend on the Dew Tour at Copper Mountain. Also, there was other athletes that I was reading about on the World Cup or whatever were winning. They live in freaking Park City.
They all live in Park City.
Yeah,
all the professional athletes live in Park City. Yeah.
When you're up there, the films and stuff, you're surrounded by Hollywood people, and a gold medal skier could walk by. You'd probably never know.
Oh, absolutely.
They're just hanging out.
Yeah, unless they were dressed for it.
Yeah, they're wearing the gold.
Yeah.
All right. Oh no! If you owe child support, there will be no hunting and fishing in Utah. A Utah bill says. I love this idea. A Utah bill that would force Utahns to prioritize paying child support over hunting and fishing in advance is advancing through the Utah legislature. It's a hard word to get out. At 10:30 in the morning, the bill, HB 197, cleared its first legislative hurdle Tuesday after a little debate and a unanimous vote in the House Judiciary Committee. It now goes to the full House for consideration. So if you are looking to pull a tag to hunt or get your fishing license, they'll just run a quick check. And if you owe child support, they will deny you, is the idea.
That could open the doors to all sorts of things. Meaning other, let's just say, ways that people are spending their money, where it's just maybe you take care of this before you take care of that.
Yeah. Take care of your kids. Utah leaders are taking the next step to bring back the Olympics. And I think it was 2026 was being tossed around, but they're actually looking at 2034. Utah leaders so that would be 32 years since the previous Olympics. So if you're in your 60s in 2034, don't hold your breath to be around for the next Olympics. But that's freaking 30 plus years in between Olympics.
I wonder why they need to put it off.
I don't know. Now it's a new committee responsible. This is according to the Deseret News, for preparing for a future bid that looks increasingly like it will be for the 2034 Winter Games. So we'll see how. We'll see. I'd love to have the games back. I don't know. That's pretty.
We got a lot of venues that are being used right now, and they're in pretty good condition right now.
Yeah, ours actually work. They're not abandoned. We use them.
No, they train on them.
Yeah. Park City and Snowbasin. And then an ice climber, for no apparent reason, decided to free solo a WI-5 with a giant sea kayak in tow. According to Climbing Magazine, you can watch the video. Stephen Frisch free solo the first pitch of Bridal Veil Falls. There's a bunch of Bridal Veil Falls. It's not the one here. It's in Valdez, Alaska, with a sea kayak hanging from his harness. In this clip from 2015, it's just now, it took us a while to find this apparently on the interwebs. Why? Well, that is a flawed question. It assumes that there could be a reason to do this. That said, Frisch explained in the YouTube comments, I had arguments with people and I wanted to prove that I could free solo WI-5 so well that I could do it with the weight and awkwardness of a sea kayak. So he did. Just because he can, I guess.
But these are the conversations you have in Ireland, where they do marathons holding beer fridges,
carrying a tree,
that type of stuff.
Yeah, weird stuff. Yeah,
I think they're bar bets. I think all of these come back to that.
Bets, yeah, I love it. All right, something worth listening to. So the Gear Junkie, and we used to have an original Gear Junkie back in long time ago, 10 years ago. But the Gear Junkie website has a new podcast because basically if you don't have a podcast, who are you these days? They released the first 3 podcasts, one with Lael Wilcox, the extraordinary, ordinary bikepacking queen, one with Tom Gathman, Getting Weird with the Real Hiking Viking, and Jay Peter Very, bikepacking's bad boy or ambassador, ? So the first 3 podcasts are up. I tell you to go listen to them because I don't listen to any other podcast besides our own. I don't have the time. But if you're listening to this Gear Junkie podcast may be worth listening to you.
That might be one of the better nicknames I've heard in a long time, is the Hiking Viking.
Hiking
I really
Viking's
like
pretty
that
good.
a lot. Yeah.
All right, something worth watching. The full...
Welcome to the Kings and Queens of Corvettes here in beautiful Jackson Hole, Wyoming, the Northern Rocky Mountains and home of the Tetons as well.
Guy's got a
DC
good
here,
voice.
joined
Yeah, he's
alongside by Jackson Hole local, 21 years to be exact.
Yeah.
And former professional snowboarder Jeff Moran. How you doing today, Jeff?
I'm well, DC. I'm stoked to have you guys, Red Bull, everybody back this year.
So much
Third
stoke,
year of
so
the
much Red
Kings
Bull.
All
and
the
Queens here in
stoke.
Corbett's
Yeah.
Calar.
That's
So
right.
this is the
third year
annual
here,
Kings and Queens of
Corvettes, and,
Corvettes,
what an
Corbettes,
amazing venue
whatever.
this is. Let's talk about Corvettes here on Rendezvous
Corvettes.
Mountain.
So,
one of the most iconic features
3 hours
at any
worth of
mountain
live
in the world.
coverage
Yeah,
that is
regularly
recorded and on
rated and
YouTube. You
voted
can
one of
watch
the
these guys
steepest,
drop this
gnarliest,
line.
most extreme runs in all of America,
That's
possibly even the
so
world.
extreme.
Possibly
Well,
even the
big
world.
shout out to the crew out here, talking about Ranyan Darge and his crew of Park and Pipe members here at Jackson Hole Mountain Resort that built some features.
So yeah,
Turn it into a drinking game. Every time they say Stoke, every time they say Red Bull,
yeah.
every time they
Obviously.
say bro. Yeah, I think that would be a good 3 hours.
3 hours worth watching right there. And then if you didn't see this one, a Swedish man, of course he's Swedish, scared the living crap out of a bear that was going to attack him. This is first-person camera technique. If we
är här ute för att hämta sin älghund som lämnat älgspåret och tagit upp björn på sen eftersäsong.
and he yells at
När
this
Ralf
bear that
möter
attacks
björnen
him.
i skogsbrynet tar han snabbt ett beslut och går till
It's a
anfall
really,
på allvar.
really big bear. The bear's coming.
Whoa. Well
Genom att göra
done,
sig stor
sir.
och skrika lyckas Ralf göra björnen osäker. och
That's a
få
big
den att
bear.
ångra sig.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a
And he did it out of the blue,
Artificial-
probably he did it at the right time because the bear was coming towards him, but
Yeah.
but he wasn't screaming the entire time. It
Right.
was just more of like a
The bear thought, wait a minute.
yeah, exactly.
Whoa, you're supposed to be scared of me. What is
Yeah.
going on here? So, yeah. Something worth watching.
Well done, Viking.
All right, Gear 30 segment. Use promo code OOA at checkout at gear30.com to save
12%.
12% on your purchase. Weekly deals this week. We have Niche Snowboards, the most environmentally friendly snowboards ever built, made in Utah. They're 20% off. We have 4 left. So pick your board, you get 20% off. I don't believe the code, the extra OOA, is an extra 20% off because these are, 20 is more than 12. So,
Right.
But see what you like on there. 12% off your purchase, gear30.com. Shop online, pick up in store. What is hot? What is so hot in gear right now? Well, there's a new company in Utah, out of Utah, that thinks algae will make better skis. Yes, Matt Sterbens believes his company, oh boy, Wonder Alpine? It's WNDR. So I'm assuming it's Wonder without the vowels, right? Wonder Alpine. May have just made the best ski ever, and
Wander?
it happens to be built with algae. So according to the Outside Magazine, 2018 ski maker Matt Sterbens got a call about algae, and he decided to make a ski about it, or with it, which is very cool because it's renewable.
Yeah.
So, and then, okay, so we talked about this with Aric because he's got a nice, well, he might not call it nice if it doesn't always run, but we know because we're van owners and vans always give you problems. But he's got a nice Volkswagen bus, and Volkswagen stalled on bringing a new Volkswagen pop top to America because it would come in at about $80,000, and they're like, no one's going to spend that much money on a Volkswagen size, but because it costs them more to ship them over here and all this stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah,
retail's
that's
going to be
a lot
about
of money.
$80,000. Well, Mercedes said, cool, we'll launch ours, and they've got the Sprinter thing going for them. But this Mercedes that they've released, it looks like your typical minivan. Like, it's just a small Oh, here, I'll show you the picture. Minivan, but with a pop top, and it's $80,000. So Mercedes market research thinks that Americans will spend $80,000 on a small.
On a Mercedes, too.
On a Mercedes.
Maybe not $80,000 on a VW.
Maybe not. That's true. I didn't think about that. But it's called the Weekender, and it comes with an elevating roof and sleeping area for two, including an integrated spring system, 2-inch memory foam mattress, 3 windows and added USB ports for lights, camera charging, and more. A multi-purpose rear bench seat that opens up into a bed for two, so sleeps 4 total. Additionally, when folded into the seat configuration, the seat moves along a rail positioned into 4 different locations, allowing additional room for varying cargo needs. Swiveling front seats that rotate 180 degrees. You could do a van sessions in there, or your very own podcast, allowing your van to quickly turn into the perfect multi-purpose lounge. Maybe we'll just go drop that $80,000.
Maybe it's kind of an entry level. What do Sprinters run? Where do those
80
start?
80 to 100.
Probably
plus.
a little bit more.
Yeah. Optional features include off-grid power and integrated solar panels, upgraded audio,
and that's where you start
awnings. Yeah. Then you're go up. Well, props to you, Mercedes.
Well, plus it shows too the popularity of those Sprinters.
Yeah.
That it's worthy for them to consider other, maybe entry options to that or smaller options.
Smaller options. Yeah. In sad news, and I do own some Omega Pacific, and I don't ever use it because it's really old gear, but Omega Pacific, one of the original makers of climbing and rescue hardware, is closing its doors after 38 years in business in Washington. The brand was not only known for its multi-lobed link cam, designed by Greg Lowe, but also for manufacturing and quality testing in a prison. The closure comes nearly 3 years after major consolidation when the Washington State Supreme Court ruled that Omega Pacific and 6 other companies would no longer be allowed to employ inmate workers at the Airway Heights Medium Security Correctional Center. Inmates employed by the Omega Pacific were paid from minimum wage to $7.16 an hour at the time to over $9 an hour for a variety of jobs, from measuring the breaking point of carabiners to keeping the factory clean. And unfortunately, they are now going out of business. Yeah, I have a Omega Pacific carabiner. It's one of the first carabiners I ever bought. It's pretty cool, but out of business now. And then finally, in gear news, a brand that sells well in Gear 30 and is catching fire in the United States is Fjallraven. They're opening a flagship store in Denver, directly across the street from REI's flagship store in Denver.
That's a good spot.
Fjallraven, yeah. So if you're a fan of the brand, we do carry it at Gear 30. And if you find yourself in Denver, go check out the flagship store coming soon.
So that'll be like their main store. Do they have other stores?
Summer 2020. I don't think they do. I think it's their first stand. I'm looking, but I think it's their first in the United States. It'll be their flagship. I could have sworn
that they even had one. Maybe they just sold it and they were just predominantly showing it in the window at
Park City.
Park City,
yeah. They might. But I think I've heard
flagship's different than just a small store or something.
Okay, that's all I got for gear news. Quote of the week: keep away from the people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that. But the really great make you feel that you, too, can become great. That's our friend, Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's it. That's all right. You got anything?
Nope. Big weekend.
Big.
I've been training.
Uh-oh.
We got
you've been watching film?
Back to back.
You've been home watching film, eating popcorn, like
been binge watching programs,
drinking a few beers. Like this is gonna be a tough weekend. Thank you to Banyan One for powering today's 351st episode of the Ogden Outdoor Adventure Show. Thank you so much to Aric Manning for joining us earlier, the new ED, Executive Director of the Trails Foundation of Northern Utah.
That stands for Executive Director.
Excuse me, that's Executive Director, just so you know. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, Spotify, theBannionCollective.com, where all the show notes are, and the Podbean app for Android and iPhones. Chat with us if you want to chat with us on Twitter that we never use, but if you add us, I'll see it. So at Ogden Adventure or at Banyan Podcast. This week's Outdoor Jukebox, sifting through hours and hours of crappy music, and I think I mentioned this last week. I will probably make this an entire Frightened Rabbit month. It's another song from Frightened Rabbit. This is Holy. If I can find the right buttons to push here. This is Holy off the 2013 album.
And we will see all of our friends this weekend at the Banff Festival.
Yes, please say hi, by the way, if you see. Yeah. This is off the Pedestrian Verse album of 2013. Again, the name of the song is Holy by Frightened Rabbit. See you this weekend. Come say hi to us. As John Muir would say, the mountains are calling, and we must go.
Let's go.